Quail log, May 27th, 2023. So when I came down tonight, I realized that I had a new egg on the bottom shelf. And then when I went to look at my videos, I realized I haven't recorded anything in since I believe the 10th, or no, the 16th. And so it's been well over a week since the last time I recorded anything, and since today is the 27th. So I've got a little bit of catching up to do. So first thing, last recording, I just put everyone down in the bottom rack over here. The day after, so during in that week, I came down to find the manure tray underneath was filled with water. I think it was because or at least I thought it was because of the water container had been pushed over a little bit. So one of the differences I noticed between my two cages, this water container has the hose goes all the way down to there. Whereas I look at this cage, the watering hose only has a little bit and it holds it well in place. This one, because of the longer hose, moves around a whole lot more, and I believe I knocked it over, and I thought half the water had poured down and had filled that tray. Found no real water on the floor, and found nothing else over here, and so, but I figured that was what had happened. So I ended up having an evening that I had to clean out and deal with or vacuum out the tray because it was full of water, and then I had to clean out the tray and get a new one put in there. So go forward another 2 days, I want to say, and that was when I came down and found the manure tray was full of water again. This time the watering container was nearly empty, or was half empty, but I found that it wasn't tipped on its side, so it hadn't dumped out of there. So it must have been, it was leaking from the hose inside, or the cups were full and just overflowing. I wasn't sure exactly what. So from there, I decided I was going to have to clean up and deal with even more of what was going on with the cages. So at that point, we'll come back to what all's happened with this rack and what all happened here. So last I had recorded, I still had black in the corner and at the lower corner, and I had speckles in the center there, and Pharaoh Boy is on the end. I came down and was getting ready to, actually I guess I was cleaning manure trays on last Saturday or last Sunday. Whenever I clean manure trays, I pulled out the manure tray underneath the bottom one there, and was a little surprised that the one underneath black didn't have as much deposits as I had for speckles and for Pharaoh Boy. Got all the trays cleaned and was finishing those up, and was getting ready to deal with food. And when I picked up the food tray on the bottom shelf, I found that Black was laying on her side with her head underneath it out into the rollout tray. And when I first touched her, she didn't move at all. So at that point, I thought she was gone, and so therefore I got gloves out and everything. Went to pick her up, and I picked her up. Her eyes opened, her mouth moved a little bit, but she didn't move at all. It was at that point I knew that she was still alive, but she was too far gone to even be able to help with anything. I don't know if she was dehydrated. I don't know if she hadn't been getting enough food. The lack of too many deposits in the manure tray tell me that it could be either of those. But she was so far gone that at that point I decided it was time to take care of her. And I put her outside and went from there. I was already planning that I was going to have to do some maneuvering around to try to figure out how to get, figuring out what I was going to do about the lower cage, considering it was wet again. The tray had been wet again. But with losing Black, I decided, okay, I was taking this middle shelf, and as you can see here, I have the two that were in decent shape, Or in the middle, I have the speckled boy up here, and then I moved this a speckled girl up here, and so, or woman, or whatever you want to say that, here too. This gave me the two sections down here. That's where all my Pharaoh girls from that just hatched are now at. So there's 6 Pharaoh girls in there, and that's where part of tonight's interesting is that I got an egg from one of the new Pharaoh girls. Speckled boy is still down here on the bottom, and my 3 males, if I can open this up, are in here. That gave him a little more room and was letting me see, okay, it was the lower tray leaking and I just hadn't noticed it, or what was going on. It's been sitting down here and there's no water on the floor since I moved everything around last Sunday, and everything seems to be doing good with them up here. I'm not having problems with water everywhere, but it's not exactly what I had planned, but having the 3 boys up here, they don't seem to be fighting, and everyone else is kind of where they're at. The one thing that did change this week, so while I was down at Tractor Supply getting other things, I ended up picking up a bag of shavings, and that's what's on the manure tray over here instead of paper towels. So they got cleaned out on Monday, I think is when I cleaned that out. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look and see if I can find anything, but when I cleaned that manure tray and moved everyone up there, I ended up using shavings, yet all these are still paper towels. Tomorrow when I clean, I may switch out everything to shavings, and we'll see where we go from there. So the other thing that was nice tonight is I got 3 eggs from my speckled and calicos. So the speckled girl is finally laying eggs again after having a couple of weeks without. My top shelf right now, I've only got 4 eggs, which has kind of been the average is maybe 4, maybe 5. Yesterday I got 4. The day before is when I got 6. So most of the time it ends up being only about 4 eggs from the top shelf anymore. But they are still laying eggs. I haven't decided what I'm doing yet on whether they're getting replaced already, or whether they're going to wait a little bit longer. I guess I will show you here. Somebody's got something on her beak. So I think this is pink green, and it was really red the other day. So far it doesn't seem to be hurting her, and didn't have her or causing any issues. She's still drinking, still handling stuff just fine. So we've kind of left her as is, and we'll see what happens with that beak. So it's been an eventful 10 days, and most of the time that I was down here, it was trying to get everything cleaned up and everything ready to go, or making sure they were fed, making sure they had enough water, especially with this tank was basically going down to the halfway point and not flowing very well. After a couple days, now it's taking 3 or 4 days for it to get down onto the halfway point, which is one of my other complaints about this watering tray. The water where it's coming out at is about halfway up the bucket. The other one over here is down towards the bottom. So I'm not sure what I need to do about that. I may end up plugging that hole and drilling a new one on the other side and moving the tub around. I haven't decided yet. It works for what I need it to, so I've left it as is. But tomorrow will be cleaning day. Most of these cages are starting to look pretty bad again, and especially with this many girls across that many areas, as they're definitely leaving a lot more traces that they're here. So, but that is an update for where I'm at right now. Now that they're laying eggs, I really need to decide, okay, do I have time next weekend to go through and call all the new birds, or what am I going to do about what's going on right now? So we'll see where we go from there, but that's where I'm at for tonight. Good night.